we are here with Jared Hendricks from Owatonna Public Utilities. Hello, Jared.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Doing well.
Good. So what are we going to talk about today? There's a lot. He's got a notepad full of things, so we'll see what we can get to. But what's the most pressing thing that we need to talk about in terms of public utilities?
Well, let's talk a little bit about electric safety today. So if everybody made it out to our fair, everybody saw that we had electric safety city on display at the fair, and we were talking a little bit about some of the things that you can do around your home, outside in your yard, out in public as you're traveling, and different things to be safe around electricity. One of the first things we talked about at the fair, and what I want to talk a little bit about today, is kind of overhead power line safety and making sure that you're being safe around them. So if you see some overhead lines around, if you're going to do some work on your house or fly kites or different things like that, you want to definitely stay away from those. You want to make sure at all times that you're going to be at least 10 feet away from an overhead line with ladders standing around them if you're on a roof. Things of that nature. You want to be 10 feet away from lines. Of course, with kites, you want to be a lot further than that because kites can change directions in a hurry, and 10 feet could turn into nothing in a hurry.
Well, and right now, fall is a time, it's starting to be fall, folks, sorry.
It is.
Is the time that people often will they'll start cutting trees.
Yes.
Because it's the prime time to do that.
Yes, it is.
For the health of the tree. And so that's something we need to look out
Exactly.
for.
So if you're up trimming a tree, first thing before you climb into any tree, whether it's kids playing in a tree, you're going to go climb into a tree to trim one. Of course, be safe if you're trimming trees, but look up first, make sure there's no overhead lines in it. It's kind of part of today's scenery. We don't really think about the power lines until something's wrong, until we've either lost power or something's got caught in a power line. We really don't think about them all the time, and that's why we want to remind people to look up first. Look up, stay safe, stay alive. So make sure that you see if there's any power lines first. If there's power lines in that tree and that needs to be trimmed, call the utilities and we can come and take a look at trimming that tree. Now if there's no lines around, go ahead, trim your tree. Just make sure that you're at least 10 feet away, that you're not going to drop any tree limbs on a power line or your service line to your house. Those situations can turn dangerous very quickly if you do indeed drop a tree limb on a power line.
Yeah, God forbid we do cut down a branch and it hits the line and the line is somehow severed. What do we do?
Well, if you've got a down power line, whether it's from storm damage, tree trimming, anything like that, you want to first and foremost stay away from downed lines. Stay at least 30 feet away from any downed power line. Call Owatonna Public Utilities if you're in Owatonna, or the local electric utility if you're somewhere else. And if you don't know who that is, you can call 911 and ask for emergency assistance
so that
if you
is
have
an
to.
Emergency,
yes,
for sure.
Absolutely,
yes.
It is. You want to make sure that people stay away from that, especially if you don't know if they're live or not. That's the big thing, is you don't know if they're live or not at that point in time.
So you're saying it's not going to be necessarily sparking all over the place.
Not necessarily, but it may be. And so the situations are dangerous if there's a down power line. It's even more dangerous if you're in your car. So most people think if you get in an accident with your car, you want to get away from the accident situation. But if you hit a power line with your car, whether it was already down, or if a storm took a power line down, or if an accident in front of you or you yourself hits a power pole and a power line falls in your car, stay in your car. Okay. You are insulated from that electricity being inside your car, but you don't want to touch the door, you don't want to touch the windows. Just stay towards the center of your car, try not to touch anything metal, and call for emergency assistance. If you see anybody,
you got me scared.
Well, it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
That's the fortunate thing, but you do want to stay in the car. The only time to get out of your car is if there's a fire in your car.
Okay.
That would mean that obviously it's more dangerous to stay in your car. And if that's the case, you want to do a couple things. You want to, as carefully as you can, just open the car door as wide as you can. Then you want to kind of get your hands on your shoulders like this so that you can't accidentally touch the side of your car. And then you want to hop out as far away from the car, not touching the car and the ground at the same time. That's why you want to kind of keep your hands up on your shoulders so that you won't accidentally grab the car door on your way out. And then you want to just kind of shuffle your feet and keep them pretty close together and get
contact with the ground.
Keep them on the ground and keep them close together and shuffle your feet as you get away from the vehicle and stay again. Get 30 feet away, call for help. wait for emergency response crews to show up and get the power turned off, and they'll help clear the vehicle and the power line and different things like that. If you're still in your car and you see somebody else approaching that's not a utility representative, try to get them to stop and back away.
And say,
yes. Well, don't honk at them. You don't want to be touching anything metal, of course.
Okay, don't honk.
But kind of holler at them and let them know that they need to stay away. And if you haven't contacted help, see if they can go get help for you.
Okay, okay. You know, I actually know somebody who at one time, and this was in another country, but there was a power line down and something caught fire, and they were throwing water on the fire, and it actually ended up hitting the current, and it came back at them. So that's another thing. You're not gonna douse it with water.
You're not gonna douse it with water. You're not a firefighter.
Yeah.
They've got special equipment to handle electrical fires. One of the big things they do is they have the utility come out and turn off the electricity as well. So we respond to a lot of fire calls, whether it's in a house and we need to turn off a natural gas meter or the power or maybe both. We respond right along with fire departments when there is a fire, when it's near a utility, so that we can get that situation more safe for the firefighters, more safe for everybody around the situation as well.
Sure, sure.
So yeah, don't worry if there's something on fire. Just get away. Make sure that you stay safe. Call for help, and everybody will come out and do what they can.
And I suppose we should all know where the fuel the gas line is to turn it off if we can. If it's in the, I mean, sometimes those are in the house. Are they not?
Well, the big thing is just to get away and call for help. We're going to respond to that situation. We don't want anybody to go back into a house if there's a fire. We don't. If you smell natural gas, just get away. Don't turn on or off any lights. Don't use your cell phone while you're in the house. Just get away from the situation, get to a safe distance, and then contact help from there. And first responders and emergency crews will come out and make sure that the situation is taken care of then.
Okay, and it is kind of storm season coming up again too.
Yeah, we do have a few storms in the fall, so of course, if you've got storm damage, call us. We'll come out and take a look to see what can be done. If it has to do with the power lines, of course, stay away from those down lines, different things like that.
Okay. And what else do we want to talk about today? So there's electric safety.
Yes. Well, and we just kind of said, fall is coming. I talked a little bit about the newsletter that fall is coming here. It just doesn't seem like it. But that means that we are going to be turning on our furnaces pretty soon. I know nobody really wants to think about the heating season quite yet. We're still in September here, but it's been pretty cool in the evenings. I'm sure there's been a few people that have even turned them on overnight. One of the things that we like to talk about every fall is carbon monoxide safety. So carbon monoxide is that odorless, tasteless, colorless gas. You don't know it's there until it's too late, and that's why we have carbon monoxide detectors in our homes these days, is to help us detect that.
That's required, isn't it?
It is required. There are legal requirements. Yes, exactly. So some of the symptoms you want to be aware of for carbon monoxide poisoning is kind of lightheadedness, nausea, dizziness, confusion, potentially being sick to your stomach. In very severe cases, you could have permanent damage or death if you don't get away from the situation. So you want to know what some of the early symptoms are.
Really just suddenly very sleepy too.
Very sleepy is another one, yes, exactly. So make sure your carbon monoxide detectors have fresh batteries in them. Keep an eye on the symptoms when your house is closed up. And if you think there's any issues, open a window, get out of the house. Call us, we'll come out to check to see if there's any carbon monoxide in your house, and we'll let you know if it's safe to go back in your house or not.
Okay. Now, if somebody can't afford, so we need a carbon monoxide detector, and they're available at many different stores, but if someone can't afford one, is there somewhere they can go to get them for low cost or no cost?
I'm not sure if there's a low cost or no cost. I know that the fire department frequently can have, or will give out batteries for smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors to different service groups and organizations. So you could try them, but I don't know if they've got any available. We had given some out back in the past. I'd have to look to see if we have any more. But the price has really come down on them. When they first had the legal requirement, the price was kind of up there, but they're really coming down. I think I saw one for about $10 the other day. So they're not very expensive anymore. They used to be $20, $30, $40 to get a carbon monoxide detector. So
and now they're a lot less.
They're a lot cheaper these days than they used to be. So make sure that you have a good working one. Make sure the batteries are good and fresh, and that that you know that you test it once in a while as well. Test it according to the manufacturer requirements.
And look at it, because well, I mean, ours, the light was shining or something was happening with it, and then it started making this beeping noise, and I thought, oh my gosh, carbon monoxide. And I called the fire department, and he walked me through,
Yes.
and he's like, okay, so you need to change your batteries. But
Yep.
but it was so helpful.
Yes.
So they're not gonna. He was very nice to me. He
They
didn't say
don't
I was
bite.
dumb. He just told me what to do to fix the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
Exactly.
good. What else can we talk about? Cold weather is coming. I'm so sorry to be talking about this, but that's what we're here for, right? Cold
Yes.
weather's coming. What else do we want to talk about?
Well, with your furnace, if you're going to turn your furnace on, or when you turn your furnace on, one of the things too is this kind of cool time of year, we like to open our windows at nights or in the evenings. Before you turn the furnace on, make sure you do get all those windows closed up again. Make sure that if you have storm windows, those are closed as well. And what that'll do is it'll help keep your utility bills down, help keep some of that energy back in the building. You don't want to be just blowing that hot air out. We're not going to heat up outside, so let's not try to.
Yeah.
It's just going to cost you more money. So make sure that the windows are closed. The other thing you can do too is we do offer rebates to have your furnace cleaned and tuned. It'll help run more efficiently and effectively all winter and save money on your bills all winter long as well.
Okay, so if we want to get that done, get our furnaces looked at, cleaned and tuned, you guys have a rebate for us?
Yep, we've got a rebate, so contact your local HVAC contractor that you work with, have them do the clean and tune. They'll help you fill out all the paperwork, bring that down to our office, and we'll get you that $25 rebate.
All right, great. Well, Jared, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it. And if somebody has a question, I think the information was on the screen for who to contact there. Thank you for joining us. Come back. We are going to have a four-legged friend and a couple of two-legged friends joining us from the Humane Society after a word from our sponsors.